Franklin Richards and Galactus are both essential pillars of the multiverse in Marvel Comics, and they share a connection that may be deeper than many fans realize. If we look at each of the characters alone, their powers constantly help upkeep balance in the cosmos in different ways. At the same time, they are opposite figures in relation to each other, representing two polarities of existence. In the case of Galactus, the devourer of worlds is older than the current multiverse. His role in the cosmos is to bring destruction to planets, which helps maintain the balance of all things. This cosmic being, who used to be a regular man named Galon from the planet Ta in the 6th cosmos, merged his essence with the dying multiverse he was born in. In that process, he became Galactus in the 7th cosmos, balancing the universe by consuming planets. Meanwhile, Franklin Richards is one of the most powerful characters born in the 7th cosmos, if not the most powerful. He was the reality warper ultimately capable of saving everyone after the 2015 Secret Wars event by creating an entire new multiverse from scratch, the 8th cosmos. Galactus is naturally attracted to peaks of energy around the multiverse. Although at first he tried only eating uninhabited planets, he soon realized his hunger is only satisfied by the energy of abundant life, while Earth as a whole is attractive to Galactus. Franklin in particular is its inhabitant who stands out the most for the amount of power he holds. However, Galactus ends up realizing he cannot consume Franklin's energy. In fact, he sees him as an equal. In the History of the Marvel Universe series, Volume 2, Number 3, September 2019, Galactus tells Franklin that he is the most powerful mutant ever born in history of the Marvel Universe. Galactus also states that while his own role is to destroy, Franklin's role is to build. As the yin-yang, these two complete each other and in consequence, can do essentially anything together, more than each of them can by themselves. In that same conversation, Franklin states that both him and Galactus are the balance of the universe as the utmost creator and the utmost destroyer. So it's no coincidence that this duo would meet at the end of all things to discuss the history of the multiverse. Unlike most mutants, Franklin displayed his abilities from birth. When Franklin was still a young boy, Galactus went to Earth to talk to Reed and Franklin directly about the child's reality warping powers in Fantastic Four number 585, November 2010. In the 3 arc in Fantastic Four comics, Galactus admits to Reed Richards how he feared a confrontation with Franklin would result in his unnatural death. In this moment, it becomes clear Franklin is the only person on Earth who Galactus actually fears because, even as a child, he has always had enough power to wipe out all of reality. Galactus goes on to also admit that Franklin was the reason he left before, as he explains to Mr. Fantastic just how powerful his son really is. In this run, it's implied that simply having Franklin Richards on Earth attracts Galactus while also protecting it from him. Galactus has often seen Reed Richards as an equal, much like Franklin. However, Reed relies on his genius-level intelligence to defeat Galactus with devices and elaborate plans, and he can't simply rely on his superpowers like his son. Although Franklin says that Galactus perhaps only fears Reed Richards in the whole universe in History of the Marvel Universe number 4, October 2019, Galactus seems to fear Franklin much more. The connection between Franklin and Galactus is so strong, it transcends universes. Across the multiverse, other variants of the characters are also linked in different ways. In the Earth X and Universe X series, set on Earth 9997, Reed Richards had killed Galactus by transforming him into a star, which disrupted the balance of the universe. Earth became vulnerable to the Celestials during this period, so Franklin was convinced by the High Evolutionary to have his mutation artificially enhanced to the 3rd tier to better protect the Earth. In this level of power, Franklin is more than a shaper of realities. He can be absolutely anything. And once achieving the right power levels, he became Galactus, who the world needed in that moment. The process made him completely forget his past life as Franklin Richards and fully become Galactus, body and mind. This enhancement established Franklin as a mutant god. Just as he can warp reality to fit his desires, both consciously and unconsciously, he also became a being who can be warped according to how other living beings perceive him. Franklin decided to become Galactus to save the Earth by consuming a celestial growing in it. Reed then spoke with the new Galactus, hoping he would spare all the life on Earth. Due to the nature of Franklin's mutation, if others believe him to be compassionate, that's what he would become. Reed had to pretend Franklin was not his son, as triggering his memory would mean he would no longer be Galactus, and that could cost the lives of all the people on Earth. When Galactus asked Reed why he had been called Franklin at one point, Reed lied to ensure Earth would still have Galactus to defend them from the mad Celestials. Franklin, as Galactus, agreed to spare the Earth, and assured his father that they would not meet again once he destroyed the celestial embryo and went away in Earth X number X, April 2000. Tragically, it is likely that Franklin is still out there eating worlds as Galactus on Earth 9997 and will never see his family again. He won't even remember he once had a family. That is an amazing parallel universe story. But in the main Marvel universe, Franklin doesn't even need to become Galactus in order to fight mad Celestials. He's powerful enough to deal with them on his own, and even command Galactus. Usually Galactus employs a herald, most famously the Silver Surfer, to seek out planets for Galactus to consume. In the Forever arc of Fantastic Four comics, the heroes ask for Galactus' help in dealing with the invasion of the Kree army in Fantastic Four 602 to 604 2012. As the universe spiraled towards its certain end, the destruction of all things was embodied in a villain called Abraxas. The chaos in the cosmos ignited interplanetary wars. Galactus defeated the Kree, but soon, mad Celestials appeared with plans to destroy the entire universe. Galactus fought 4 Celestials and managed to kill one, but the Celestials fused into a Super Celestial and killed Galactus. It seemed like everything was lost until an adult Franklin Richards showed up, coming directly from the future. Future versions of Franklin and Valeria Richards came to that point in time to execute the plan orchestrated by their grandfather, Nathaniel Richards. Valeria and Franklin combined their powers onto Franklin to resurrect the only being in the Marvel Universe capable of stopping Abraxas and the Celestials. Future Franklin pulls out the energy from his younger self as well and uses it to bring Galactus back to life. Upon his resurrection, Galactus obeys Franklin Richards. With the help of Galactus, Franklin destroys the mad Celestials, ultimately saving the universe, although that was only temporary and Galactus got his agency back soon after the battle. For a short period of time, Galactus was the herald of Franklin Richards. This is when Franklin said the iconic line, "Rise to me, my Galactus." With the Celestials defeated and the ultimate nullifier used to destroy Abraxas, the Earth was saved by the Fantastic Four, Galactus, future Franklin, and future Valeria. However, resurrecting Galactus demanded a lot of Franklin, to the point of depleting him of his powers. Franklin was left without any powers at all for a while. There are many stories that feature both Galactus and Franklin, but one in particular stands out right now because it's likely going to be adapted soon into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The 2015 Secret Wars and other series that tie into the crossover event. In Battleworld, Galactus is enslaved by God Emperor Doom and becomes his personal living weapon. Franklin is part of the force that helps keep Battleworld together, as it is an unstable reality. During the run, Galactus and Franklin grow closer. After Reed Richards and Owen Reese manage to destroy Battleworld and set up the means for the reconstruction of the multiverse, Franklin is summoned to rebuild it based on the prior reality they lived in. At this point, when Secret Wars ends, it connects to the start of the history of the Marvel Universe. The series, released a few years after Secret Wars, tells us what happened between Galactus and Franklin in those moments before the new multiverse was born. Galactus plays the role of a mentor in Franklin's life, although not in a traditional sense. He tells Franklin truths about the cosmos others won't or simply don't know as well, seeks to help him better control his powers, and treats him as his equal, which is something he doesn't do with almost anyone else. This dynamic reaches its peak post-Secret Wars, when Galactus narrates the history of the multiverse to Franklin in preparation for what's to come next. In a way, Galactus becomes Franklin's companion and protector, a true best friend. He is also a father figure, or an uncle figure, as Reed Richards and Johnny Storm cannot follow. Franklin is his god-level cosmic adventures like Galactus can. Galactus is the embodiment of destruction, so he's the perfect candidate to train Franklin to approach creation responsibly. Galactus has traveled the entire cosmos many times since the dawn of days, and he knows what works and doesn't, as he is attracted by planets where life flourishes. His experience is the most valuable asset as Franklin's only companion at the end of times. Yet at the same time that he is a mentor, Galactus continues to exist only because of Franklin. Objectively, Franklin is stronger than Galactus. Galactus was born in the 6th cosmos and lived through the 7th. That is impressive, but in theory, he would have died with the destruction of Battleworld. He now walks the 8th cosmos because of Franklin. Galactus and Franklin are two complementary entities of the universe at this point. That's why, at the end of History of the Marvel Universe, we find the two of them alone, with Galactus helping Franklin remember everything. Franklin asks Galactus to tell him the story of the multiverse, which helps him shape the 8th cosmos in the image of the 7th. So, in fact, all other characters are only still around because of Franklin and Galactus. With such a complex dynamic between these two characters, it's no wonder fans are expecting them to interact with each other in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well. We already know that the Fantastic Four, First Steps, will introduce Galactus to the franchise. The trailers have also shown that Sue is pregnant with baby Franklin at one point of the movie, and that Franklin is born at some later point. Fans have been speculating that the coming of Galactus to Earth in the movie is directly connected to the birth of Franklin Richards. The idea is that, even before being born, Franklin is so powerful that a signal is immediately sent out to Galactus. From the womb, he could already be warping reality, for example. Remember when we discussed Earth X earlier in the video? The fan theory brings the MCU closer to that reality. We already know that this Fantastic Four movie will be set in a parallel universe, and that they will travel to the main Marvel universe, probably towards the end of the story. This will connect the movie with the post-credits scene of Thunderbolts, and tie into Avengers, Doomsday. So, adapting a story with variants in another universe that is not Earth, 616 seems appropriate for this Fantastic Four movie. Based on the images and trailers released so far, fans have been noticing several clues that the Fantastic Four, First Steps, will mix Earth X with some details from other runs. One of these details would be the fact that Galactus deeply fears and obsesses over Franklin, as we mentioned when discussing Fantastic Four comics from 2010. In one of the trailers, we see Galactus looking through the windows of the Baxter Building. He is apparently looking for Franklin, who is still only a baby. A popular fan theory right now is that Galactus sends Shallabal, the Silver Surfer, to Earth for two reasons. One is to urgently prevent the birth of Franklin Richards, but another is to consume the entire planet, easing his hunger and ending any chances of another baby like Franklin ever being born. Galactus may have sensed Franklin's powers forming even from inside Sue's womb, and wanted to kill the baby so he would never grow up to be able to kill Galactus. This starting point for the plot would explain why we see the Silver Surfer attacking an apparently pregnant Sue in the footage released so far. We know other villains are involved, as we see Giganto destroying the city, which is a reference to one of the first Fantastic Four comics in the 1960s. But we think the main plot could also revolve around Galactus. Seeing there are few planets around to consume, he tries to solve this mystery by following the sudden peak of energy coming from Sue's body. Meanwhile, we also know that Reed Richards will find out that incursions are taking place. Not only are there several Easter eggs pointing to that, but director Matt Shakman confirmed in an interview with Empire in April 2025 that the film takes place in a parallel universe, and that it kicks off with Reed discovering that a major cosmic object has simply vanished. This will likely be the effect of their entire universe collapsing. Once the Fantastic Four convinces Galactus that they must travel to a new universe to survive, otherwise they will all die, including Galactus, Franklin will be safe from harm. In consequence, when we see the Fantastic Four spaceship in the post-credits scene of Thunderbolts, it's very likely that Galactus is coming right behind them. Either during the final scenes in the Fantastic Four, First Steps, or in Avengers Doomsday, it's also likely that an adult Franklin from the future will travel in time and appear on Earth 616. That's where details from the Fantastic Four comics from 2012 would come in, and we could also see Valeria Richards, who is also a part of the 2015 Secret Wars event. With both Franklin and Valeria introduced as teens or young adults who traveled in time after being trained by Nathaniel Richards, they fit their roles in Secret Wars in the comics. Then, by Avengers Secret Wars, once the franchise has told the rise and fall of God Emperor Doom's battleworld, we may see Franklin and Galactus together at the end of all things, discussing how to build a new cosmos. It seems highly unlikely that the MCU would introduce Franklin and not have him be the one responsible for recreating the multiverse at the end of Phase 6. In the new reality post-Secret Wars, the cosmic rule of balance between Franklin and Galactus would now apply to the MCU as well. This is how deep the connection between Galactus and Franklin Richards goes, not to mention all of the other storylines in which they have crossed paths. Did you know their relationship had an importance in the recreation of the multiverse? Is this exactly what the MCU is trying to set up in the near future? Is this something you would like to see? Perhaps the whole story will change, but it's interesting to see what will happen with so many options for the duo. And it's the perfect time for the Fantastic Four to join the multiverse. Let's discuss the duo in the comments below, and remember to subscribe to our channel for more coverage of the MCU and the Fantastic Four First Steps. Until next time, thanks for watching CBR.